Welcome to the Make It Happen with Will Polston podcast.
Talking of stories and trauma stories, I heard you share an experience which really sort of touched me, and I want to elaborate on it if we can. You talk about your people and you collect people, and you do a lot of work now in prisons.
Yeah.
You go around to prisons. And I'm writing saying that you were speaking at this one prison with the prisoners, and you create like a really safe space for them. And these prisoners, they're like, as you would imagine, a lot of prisoners, right? But then you come in, you share your story, and these guys start opening up and sharing stuff. And there was this one guy that sort of come up and said, "Hey Theo, you're my hero," which many people do, me being one of them. Yeah. And he said, 3 weeks ago, I met someone. Do you know the story I'm talking about?
Yeah. It was a profound piece in my healing journey, right? Because when I was writing the second book called Conversations with a Rattlesnake, and Kim, who was the person I was writing the book with, Kim Barthel, we got to the word forgiveness. Okay. And she asked me, how do you feel about forgiveness? And I was like, nope, not gonna happen, And I was, I wasn't there yet, right? So she said, just think about it. Think about the word forgiveness. Think about forgiveness. I said, okay, I can do that. And so next thing you know, we show up at this prison. Her and I are doing a full day with 400 inmates in a prison, and we're having this amazing conversation, and this kid in the back of the room can't even sit in his chair. He's obviously been triggered by something I said, and so I say to him, you got something to say? And he stands up and he says, first thing out of his mouth is, Theo Fleury, you're my hero. And he said, as you can see, he says, I'm not the biggest guy in the world. And he said, I used to be a really great hockey player. And he said, when I was 14 years old, I got involved with the wrong crowd. And he said, I started selling drugs. And he said, I've been in and out of jail ever since. And then he said, you'll never guess who I was with 3 weeks ago in Grand Cache, Alberta. I said, I don't know, who are you with? And he said, I was with Graham James. And Graham James is the guy that raped me 150 times, and he was in jail with my abuser. And so he basically said, because you're my hero, I was going to beat the shit out of this guy for you. Okay. But he also said that Graham is very heavily guarded because everybody wants to beat the shit out of this guy. And so he said, I waited and I waited and I waited. And he said, I got my chance. He said, the guards left his room and I went into his room and he wasn't there. So I started searching around. He said, walked to the left side of the bed. He wasn't there. He said, I walked over to the right side of the bed and there he was, curled up in a ball in the fetal position in the corner of his room. And basically I said to him, I said, you're my hero for not doing anything. And that was the moment that I needed to get to. And that was that self-forgiveness moment, because somebody who's curled up in a ball in the fetal position, they're in pain and they're suffering, right? Well, guess what? I'm not. I'm in a prison helping 400 men come to grips with their own traumatic experiences, right? And I was, he told me that story, I was no longer attached to my abuse. I was able to let it go and get rid of that, that piece of my story, right? And it was profound. It was profound. And as I was saying the words, I wanted to reach out and grab them and bring them back, because, I don't know if I was ready at that point, but that's the thing about willingness, right? Because willingness has to be a part of any healing journey, is that you have to be willing to do whatever it takes to get better, right? And, by setting the intention that I wanted to go work in the prison system, even though I was providing some healing to them, guess what they did for me?
Yeah.
They showed me and taught me what forgiveness was.
Absolutely.
Right? So, I always tell coaches, right, whether you're life coaching or coaching kids or whatever, my attitude is always, I want to learn more from you than I can teach you. Because that takes the ego out of the equation, right? And that builds trust, that builds relationship, that builds openness, honesty, and willingness. Right? Those are 3 really important things: honesty, openness, and willingness.
You can find the full episodes of the Make It Happen with Will Polston podcast here on YouTube, on iTunes, Spotify, and all other major podcast platforms.